Hi, this is the third video in a series that I'm making about working with a supervisor or under a supervisor who had both some kind of combination of narcissism and ADD or attention. I don't think it was ADHD. I mean, I really don't know anymore whether or not like the statistic manual distinguishes between those two disorders. I don't think they do. I didn't really see anything that was like hyper about her, but I definitely, so I think that she would just be classified as ADD. What I wanted to talk about in this video is a few things that confirmed for me on my position, that it was not just me. Like, wasn't being like, oversensitive or just like weird or like easily agitated or unable to get along, something like that, like difficult personality to get along with. Just a few things that happened and that I can tell you about, like some stories. Okay, and again, this video might offend some people. But again, I'm not trying to like single out one trait for the sake of putting down a person that has that one trait, okay? I'm bringing up these traits because they're a collection of symptoms or actions or something that I saw with this person and I knew about early on and I ignored, and I wish that I hadn't. I wish that I had, like, when I noticed these in like the first 2 weeks, all of these things that I've discussed in the last two videos and in now this one, okay? I noticed these things in the first 2 weeks of employment. And instead of like looking like I'm job hopping now, like for leaving in less than 2 years from this position, if I had just left in 2 weeks and like sucked it up somehow to try to pay my bills, and man, I would have been better off like waitressing at a coffee counter. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I'm sure I could have found something else, but at the time, I just was so afraid, and I wasn't sure, like, I don't want to say I wasn't sure that there wasn't a problem with her, because I knew there was a problem. And one of the things too about me is that like I have said before, I've grown up with ADD in my family. I know what it is, and I know how to recognize it right away. If you meet somebody and you're trying to talk to them and they're interrupting you every sentence and they're not interested in anything that you have to say, supposing those were just the symptoms alone that you noticed about them one day having a conversation with them, your first conversation, like maybe the first time you hang out with them for longer than 20 minutes, if you notice that going on, I promise you that that person has ADD to some degree, okay? I have a sibling that has severe ADD, and I love her, and I talk to her every day. She also has dyslexia. And so, like, and these were problems, we're talking about many, many decades old, okay? And back when we were kids in school, they didn't have anything like what they have today for therapy, medications, remedial school, anything. They didn't have anything like that like they do today. So she really suffered and struggled. And, I grew up with her, and I love her. She's my sister. And yes, when I text her and stuff, because she'll hardly ever talk to me on the phone. In fact, she doesn't like it if I even leave her a voice message on, like an Insta message. She doesn't like that. Like, attention deficit for her is such a problem that she can't listen to like a video recording of me talking about something that's more than a minute long. Even if it's shorter than that, if she's not interested in the topic, I know that she's not listening to it. And sometimes, like for us, if we're neurotypical and we don't have ADD, We think it's just easier to talk out a complex thought than it is to sit and type on our phones with our finger, like a little, you know what I mean, a little pad. But anyway, what I was getting back to with that is that I know ADD. Okay, so that was, it was in my immediate family with one sibling, and really severe with no treatment her whole life, okay? Now, in the next generation of kids, like my siblings' kids, have severe dysfunctional ADD. Like I would classify them as ADHD, both of those nephews of mine. Like it's really severe in them. And again, they, I guess on their side of on the father's side, their father was really, really troubled as a child. And my sister didn't find out about like what a difficult child he was, or his, like it was a remarkably difficult, challenging childhood because of his ADD. Like this kid was strange. And my sister didn't find out about that until she was well into the marriage, like 5-6 years. You'd think if you were getting married, that would be one thing you would tell your spouse, you know? Like I was not a normal kid when I was little. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you're contemplating getting married and having children with that person, they have a right to know something like that. I don't know. My sister, didn't divorce this person or anything. She loves him, and he did kind of, he's a nice guy. We all like visiting with him and everything, and he did kind of, I guess, grow out of it or something. But anyway, their two kids are severely affected by it. Like one could barely get through school. Both of them had medication their whole lives growing up, and both of them are, this is sound mean, but like one has had a really hard time, like even holding down a job, and let's see, he must be in his 30s, like early 30s by now, I want to say, and both of them drank too much. One of them that oldest one is trying to be sober. He is very, very talented, but he works jobs that are below his capability, and probably because he can't stay in one job for very long, I should talk, right? But anyway, I saw how my sister struggled with these two kids, raising them up. There was absolutely no doubt about it. They were both diagnosed by psychiatrists. They both were on medications. There were multiple, family get-togethers and discussions about these two kids and their diagnoses. So I know what ADD looks like, okay? And I knew right away in her, that my supervisor, that she had it, okay? But I have also seen like adult people who are in the working world who cope with ADD, and they have learned to cope. Okay. Now this is the first one, I should say, maybe like the second supervisor I've ever had that I know had ADD, and it did not go well. All right. And because I think I would attribute a lot of the issues that didn't go well to her ADD and her narcissistic personality disorder. And some of the traits that I want to talk about that she did today that I didn't discuss with you in the last two videos have to do with things that I noticed really early on that were confirmed for me in her, all right? And so this is how I know that what my interpretation of our relationship is the correct interpretation, all right? Because believe me, I am more than willing to examine my own contribution to the problems of our relationship. And I will say, like, I don't respond well to these kinds of problems. I have a low tolerance for frustration, and I'm very sensitive to criticisms of my intellect. It's because I have worked really hard. Like, I have 3 advanced degrees, and I have a PhD, like ABD, okay? And I've always loved academia and pursuing academia. And so I am very particular and very sensitive and very cognizant of my intellectual abilities, where I'm at, like what my IQ might be, and It's probably just average, to tell you the truth. Most people are just average, but average is good enough to get by and enjoy your life. But anyway, I've worked really hard in academia, and I'm really sensitive about my intelligence, okay? I don't respond well to it. And somehow, like, she knew that, and she would pick up on that, and she would make subtle hints that my intelligence wasn't very good. It's really funny because she doesn't have more degrees than me, and she does have an MBA, and she is really, really smart. And I would say that she probably is smarter than me if we sat down and took an IQ test. But there's nothing wrong with my intelligence, okay? I can promise you that. It's at least average or probably a little bit more. But so anyway, when she would do these things, like say things and hint at things, I did not respond to it well. So, and I know that inability to respond to, or to just like ignore that type of like welling up anger feeling in myself is not good. Like, I know my frustration level is low for that kind of thing. And so I will say that, she was the root of the problem, but I did not respond to it well. Okay, there. I admit my side of it. She would never, ever sit down and admit to anybody that she did anything wrong in our working relationship. She wouldn't do that with anybody in her relationship. Her working, living, working, home, anything, nothing, okay? I will tell you so many interesting stories about this woman. There'll be another file or two after this, I'll tell you that for sure. All right, so, I'm going to talk about some habits and traits that she had that I recognized right away, and that I attributed to ADD, and I ignored against my instincts, right? Okay, so I noticed that, like, her nails on her hand were, like, bitten down raw. Okay, bro? Raw. She would bite her nails down to the freaking skin. I'm not kidding you. And sometimes they would bleed. And there were only, like, I went up to her one time and, like, I felt bad for her. And I was like, because my sister, the one that has the ADD, she just did the same thing. These are things that all these other people who are talking to you about ADD on YouTube don't pay any attention to. These little signs, these little habits, okay? So you're getting something here unique, all right? They're just pointing out, like, these things like, oh, you'll go into a meeting and they'll sabotage and steal your ideas. Like, how realistic is that? Like, I don't know anybody who works in the corporate world, and I don't know, I've never had anybody, friends of mine or whatever, who worked at a job where their boss actually did something like that to them, or like physically abused them, or was like doing something illegal, like, laundering money or something. I've never heard of any such thing, okay? And I've heard of plenty of people who've been miserable at their jobs because of things that their supervisors did that were, more in line with, like, the types of problems that I'm telling or describing to you in these videos. Okay, so, right. So she used to bite her nails, and I went up to her one time, and I'm like, oh, you bite your nails? And I said, I said, look, why do you feel like you do that? And, I was genuinely concerned. Like, they were raw, and they were bleeding, and they were red, and they were infected, And I said it in the kindest of ways of concern. And, she didn't take offense by it or anything. She just said, I only bite my two nails, my thumb and my index finger. It's just offensive, like a little bit about it, She's like, I only bite these two. And even that in itself is friggin' weird, right? Like, I bite my nails, but I only bite two of them. I don't bite the other ones. Like, it's neurotic. It's like, maybe that's her problem. I don't friggin' know. Maybe she's got neuroticism. All right, so if you see that, she would stand at her desk and, like, remember how I was telling you, like, all the crunching and, like, the noise and the wrappers and all this stuff? Like, I would hear her constantly going into her drawer to get Band-Aid wrappers. And, it is an annoying thing to be around somebody who is biting their nails all freaking day. Okay? It's like, it is annoying. It's annoying to other people. It was annoying to me. I noticed it. maybe it's not annoying to other people, but I noticed it and it was annoying to me. All right, so there's another great clue for you. When you are being interviewed, look at these things with these people. Do they have a bunch of issues that you can see right away? Like, are they, I hate to say this, but are they overweight? Are they biting their nails? Are they constantly interrupting you during the interview? Or are they like, you can tell during the interview that they're, what do you call it? Love bombing you? Or like they're script saying things? Oh my God. She used to do that so much. I'll tell you more stories about her little friggin' scripts. They drove me crazy. Like her little script sayings, right? Scripted. Like you can tell in an interview, like they'll ask you a set of questions and they're always like sort of the same sort of questions every interview, right? But like, okay, suppose like you just get into the discussion about what is the, like they ask you, do you have any questions? And you say, well, exactly, how would I be trained in this position? And they come back with an answer, and part of that answer sounds scripted to you. Put that together with any other kind of, clue. If their nails are bitten down to the wick, if they're interrupting you, if they're, you ask them what is the turnover in the job? If they say there's been more than 2 turnovers in the past 5 years, you don't want this job. Telling you right now, you don't want it, no matter how much you think you do. Okay, there shouldn't be that kind of turnover with a person like this. We can see in if it was like a job that nobody really wants to do, but when you have a turnover like that with somebody who has habits like that, those 2 things should be a red flag to you to not accept that job. I wished I hadn't. Honest to goodness. All right, so the nail biting, and then here's another thing, okay? This woman stank. She stunk. And she was dirty. She went through a stage, months of this, especially during the first summer. And I stopped seeing it by the time October, November rolled around, because I was hired in August. By the time November, December rolled around, she cleaned up her act a little bit. But this went on all summer, okay? This problem where I noticed she wasn't showering, okay? And not if she was, it wasn't daily, certainly. I smelled BO on her, okay? And I smelled FO on her. And ladies, you know what that is, okay? And it was disgusting. I would go in, a couple of times I went in the bathroom, ladies' room, and I could smell her in the next stall. And it wasn't somebody going number 2, that smell. It wasn't that. It was FO, okay? And it was friggin' overwhelming. And I just come out of the bathroom, wash my hands as fast as I can, and start friggin' running. It would smell up the whole bathroom. And even when she left, you passed her, right? And you went into the ladies' room after her, and there's 4 stalls in there, okay? This is a big room. It still smells like that FO, okay? And, that was gross. One time she came up to me and we were working in a tight space together around a lectern. And she had on a short sleeve shirt, and it's really quite hot where we were in the United States, okay? And, I never wear shirts that expose my underpits in a professional position, but she did. Okay, whatever. And she was working with me, and she reached over the lectern and exposed her underpit, and her BO that came out from her arm, it was overwhelming for me. I am not making this stuff up. I'm not kidding, okay? This is getting to be long, so I'm gonna put this into a second video. So let me stop here and start a new one. Okay, so anyway, she crooked her arm open to reach over for something, and it was right in front of me, and BO came out of her armpit. All right, and that was not the first time that I smelled armpit BO on her. And that day too, I could also smell the FO, okay? And then she started talking to me about something or other, and she reeked of garlic. Okay, I wanted to puke. It, like, all of this stuff was just starting to, like, panic me. Like, oh my God, like, this is not normal behavior, okay? Now, if it had been just one of those things, like she didn't shower often enough, okay, now I wouldn't say that that's a sign of a personality disorder, all right? If she was just a binge eater, binge eat, go ahead. I wouldn't say that's a personality disorder. If she bit her nails and that was all she did, I wouldn't say that was a personality disorder. I'm telling you, all of the things together, right, indicate a personality disorder. All of these things together are small symbols, all right? But they are going to add up to something big and terrible for you, all right? And that's why, like, all of these distinguishments between covert and overt and, like, victim narcissism or whatever, like, I don't understand all the differences between them, but whenever I listen to those videos, they're always identifying these different symptoms, and but they never talk about these small things that are less obvious, that I think are more frequent. Like, you could observe them more frequently in individuals, and so one of the videos I saw was like 1 in 6 people are a narcissist. Like, who knew, right? You might know if you see all of these things together, okay? You don't want to work for a narcissist, no matter what kind they are. I don't even know, overt, covert, whatever. Like, if they're narcissists, you don't want to work with them. And if they're narcissists with ADD, like, there are a bunch of videos coming out now talking about, like, this combination, like how they're related in some individuals. Like, this is like a new phenomena, okay? So I'm testifying to it, right? Like, I went through this, okay? So there you go. Those kinds of things, like FOBO, bad breath, and not showering. Okay, now here are the like, sometimes I would see in her hair was like greasy and stringy. All right, and she really had nice hair when she washed it. It was really, like, soft and pretty, and so I could definitely, her hair was shiny, soft, and straight when she washed it, when it was clean. So I could definitely tell when it was greasy and dirty and grimy. Like, my hair, I can go like 4 or 5 days without washing it, and it's dry as a haystack anyway. Like, I just put hairspray on and like some gel, and I iron my hair every morning, and I go. You would never know whether I wash my hair or not. It always looks the same, even when I wash it, because I immediately do the same styling products. But with her, like, I could tell right away. Like, and this went on, like, for a period of weeks, and then it just sort of disappeared. And I think what happened is she probably had some kind of problem at home, and her husband said, you need to go get your meds adjusted, or she figured it out on her own or something, and she went and got a med adjustment. And that issue of, like, me noticing her grimy hair and stuff went away. But the problems with the woman was gross, okay? Now, I started out this video with talking about how I knew, like, confirmation from other people. I did have another coworker in the office come up to me and tell me that I talked to her about it. Like, I brought it up, right? This girl and I were friends, and we weren't ganging up on her. I was just trying to confirm what I noticed, okay? And she noticed. She's like, yeah. She goes. She comes over to my desk and she's like scratching her head. And I looked at her nails, and like her nails came out of her head with like gross stuff. Like her scalp is dirty, and her hair is dirty. I'm like, oh, like, it's disgusting. Okay, and so there were other people who noticed. And I can't remember for sure whether or not anybody ever talked to me about the odor. But I know I'm not, like, I go to the gym every day. I smell people who work out next to me. I smell myself, I know what BO is. I know what body odor is. I know what FO is, okay? I am a grown woman. I've had 2 kids. I went through, 30 years of cycling. I know what FO is, okay? And I know that she had it, and she had it bad. And I was in an office with her all day, like 10 feet away from her, and I could smell it, all right? Oh my goodness. Okay, those are my 2 for today. And in my next video, I'm going to talk about 2 different types of scenarios that narcissists like 2 different environments that they like. 3, actually. It's the military, it's church and religion, and it's university life. They friggin' love those places, and you will find them camped out. Camped out, I swear to God, in those places, and we'll talk about that next. Bye.